Okay, we got, we're graphing, okay? Graphing a quadratic. We're back to the four-step method, plus one if we want the x-axes. So we'll use that quadratic formula if we need that. But in order to find the axis of symmetry, or the vertex, or the y-intercept, right? We're going to use, that's the first step is the axis of symmetry. The second step is the vertex. Third step is the y-intercept. Okay, that's giving our first point of sim. So after that, we do a check method on it, right? We put in 2 times that axis. We're going to get that second point of sim. So we have 3 points that we're getting, and then we'll be able to draw the nice symmetric quadratic. Okay. So the first step is to find the derivative. Okay. So I need to find the derivative of the function. Okay. So that would be 2 times 4, which would be 8x. And then I take 1 away from that 2. So I just take 1 away from the 2, and we're left with 1. Now this 1 is times the 24, so that's just 24. When I take 1 away from it, that leaves nothing. Okay? There is no x. It's really x to the 0. So you take 0 times 20, it's 0. So that's why that just goes away. Okay? So the derivative is 8x plus 24. Alright? And so from there, we set the derivative equal to 0. Because that's the slope that we're caring about. Okay? So the slope of either one of these is going to be right at the bottom or right at the top. Does that make sense? So when that slope is 0, bam, that's going to tell us where the axis is. Okay? Because that tells us what x equals. Okay? So we solve for x. So I subtract 24, and I get 8x equals 24 negative, right? So finally, I divide by 8, and I divide by 8, and I get x equals negative 3. That is my axis of symmetry. Okay? So after I have my axis of symmetry, I can plug that into the function. Okay? I just plug it right back in to the original function. F of x is equal to 4x squared plus 24x minus 20. Okay? And so now I plug in my negative 3. I'm saying, hey, this is going to be negative 3, so this is going to be negative 3, and this is going to be negative 3. Okay? And then I just do the math. F of negative 3 is equal to, well, negative 3 squared is 9. 9 times 4 is...
9 times 4, 9 times 37.
Okay? Negative 3 times 24. So we got, what, 60 72. Plus 12? 72. So minus 72 minus 20. Okay? And so now I've got f of negative 3 is equal to negative 36 minus 20. Okay? And so I have f of negative 3 is equal to negative 56. That is my vertex. Negative 3 and negative 56. That's my vertex. Okay? So I'm going to put that over here just so I know. So negative 3 and negative 56. My vertex. From there, I got to go to step 3, right? Step 3 says, if I plug in 0, f of 0, right? Then 0 squared is 0, times 4 is 0. 0 times 24 is 0. So it's just going to equal negative 20. Okay? So my point is 0, negative 20. Right? So that's one of my points. 0 and negative 20. Okay? Now, my last point should be pretty easy. Okay? I should be able to just plug in f of 2 times the axis. And the axis is negative 3. Right? And that would be 2 times negative 3, which would be
6.
Negative 6, right?
Oh, yeah, it's not negative 2.
Okay? So then we plug that in, and we better get negative 20. That's our goal. But that's why it's also a check method. Right? So I'm going to plug it into 4 times x squared plus 24x, 24x minus 20. Right? And I plug in my negative 6 and my negative 6. Okay? I got negative 6 squared, which is 36, times 4. So 4 times 3 is 12, so 120.
144.
So 120 plus 24
144.
is 144. Okay? Now 6 times, so a positive and a negative is a negative, right? And 6 times 20 is 120,
144.
right? Plus 4 times 6 again, which would be 24, so 144. And they cancel out, which they should. So now I get negative 20. So f of negative 6 is equal to negative, sorry about that, it's equal to negative 20. Okay? And so I get negative 6 and negative 20. Okay? And that's my other point of symmetry. Negative 6 and negative 20. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is graph them now. So I have that, and I'm going to come over here and graph it. Well, my graph, 1, 2, 3, 4, if I want to plug in negative 20 or negative 56, I've got to change my scale. Right? So if I change my scale to maybe, I could do 5, I could do 10. It really doesn't matter. A 5 is nice because then it stretches it out some, right? So I could go 5, 10, and the reason why I'm coming down is because everything's negative, right? So I'm just worried really about the negative side.
What about the
Negative 5, negative 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So the numbers I want are 20, right? And 55. Those are the numbers that I care about.
What about the negative 3?
Yeah, now I need to worry about the x's. That's the y's, right? So the x's, do I want to have these in 5s and then I have everything squished into this? No. So I'm going to keep that as 1s, right? And so I'll have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, right? Negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. All I care about, again, is negative 6, negative 3, and of course, 0, right? Negative 3, and of course, 0, right? And so now I want to plug in my points. My point, my vertex, is negative 3, right? And negative 56. Okay? My other point is 0, negative 20. Okay? And my other point is negative 6, 20. Negative 20. Alright? And now I could graph. And if I were to plug in the quadratic formula, I should find, right, that my x value should be somewhere around 1 and somewhere around negative 7.
R1 value?
No, x value. When you do your quadratic formula, it's telling you where it crosses on the x-axis, right? So that's, if I plug that in real quick, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? Negative b would be 24. And 24, right? And a would be 4 and 4, okay? And 20, okay? And then I would just use my calculator.
Negative 20.
Yeah, negative 20. Very important. Negative 20. Yeah. Okay, use the calculator to do a lot of this work. Okay? So I want to do what's in here first. I want to do 24 squared. And that's 576. Okay, and then I've got negative and a negative is a positive. That's going to be way too big, but let's see. So positive. And then 4 times 4 times 20.
16, 20.
And we got 320. And then, so plus the 576. So it'll be 896. Then we take the square root of that. It's 29.9. Okay. So we're at approximately 30, right? But 29.9, and then we got 24 negative plus that divided by 8. So I'm going to add 24 negative, go back, negative 24 equals, and then divide by 8. And that's 0.74. So that's 3/4. So about right there. Okay? And then if I do it again, except I'm going to take the 29 and subtract. So that's going to be negative 24 minus 29.9 equals, divide by 8. I get negative 6.7, right? So negative 6.7, or 3/4, 6 3/4, right? And so this was, this just a little off. Just like that, bam. And that's using the whole thing. Okay?